Let's read the story Evans Tries an O-Level, written by Colin Dexter, a British crime writer. Let me share that Colin Dexter was conferred with the McCavity Award for a story Evans Tries an O-Level in 1996. The story is a detective fiction dealing with the jailbreak of Evans. The story deals with the clever escape of Evans and the governor's pursuit to catch him. Let me share the Dramatis Personae. Evans, the prisoner who wants to undertake the O-Level German examination, the secretary of the examination board, the governor of HM Prison, Oxford, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Stephens, prison officers, Reverend McCleary, an invigilator, Mr. Carter, detective superintendent, and Mr. Bell, detective chief inspector. So these are the main characters, but the chief protagonist is Evans, the mastermind. And so if we just go by the main points of the story, we get to know that Evans, the prisoner, expresses his desire to undertake the O-Level German examination. The prison authorities, out of sympathy and desirous of prison reforms, allow him to study for O-Level examination, and now the time is for the conduct of the examination. Therefore, the governor of the prison entrusts the responsibility to Mr. Jackson and Mr. Stephens. Both are brave police officials, and a parson, McCleary, has been appointed as the invigilator so that out of respect for the parson and religion, the examination might go smoothly. The governor knows that Evans is a pleasant personality, but he is a kleptomaniac and has the reputation of breaking from the prison thrice. So he's called Evans the Break. So all precautions had necessarily to be taken to deal with this prisoner too. So the governor had himself supervised all the arrangements. Tight security had been ensured. The examination was supposed to be conducted in the D wing where the prisoner lived during his stay in this prison, and the cell had to be vacated thoroughly. Mr. Jackson had to ensure that the cell would be vacated thoroughly, nothing would be left at all, because Evans is a kleptomaniac and can do anything. So after everything has been cleverly supervised by Mr. Jackson and the governor himself, it was time for the smooth conduct of the examination, beginning with the arrival of the parson McCleary. And before actually the parson walks in, it was ensured that Mr. Evans, clever Evans, has attended to all the formalities, and he had asked Jackson if any parson was coming in. Jackson was alarmed and he asked Evans how he knew, and he simply said that he had to sign some formalities, sign some forms, and therefore he had noticed it. Anyway, Jackson was relieved that nothing would happen, just one prisoner undertaking the exam, and so no problem. On the day of the examination, the invigilator comes at the appointed hour with his paraphernalia. He had a briefcase in his hand. It was checked thoroughly, and the invigilator was asked for the rubber ring that was there amidst the other things. The invigilator simply said that he is an old man, and He suffers from hemorrhoids, and so it's difficult for him to sit for a long time, and therefore the rubbering was there. The prison officials feel ashamed for asking such a thing and inquiring from the parson, but then they duly respect him and send him back to the room. The invigilator makes all the formalities. He announces the center number, code number, and the examination begins. Earlier, one of the officials was inside the room, but when Evans requested, Stephens was asked to come out. And then Stephens was just peeping in time and again to monitor what was going on, and each time he noticed that Evans was just looking at the ceiling with the pen between his lips. In between, a correction slip was sent, and the governor himself was on intercom and he listened to the changes. He knew a bit of German and was relieved when he found that it was all related to the corrections and whatever he had learnt about adjectives in German. So the governor felt that he was overdoing the things, and the examination continued. Then another request came from Evans. He said that it was cold and he needed a blanket. After certain doubts, again the sympathy was for Evans, that the prison cell was situated in extremely cold corner and it was March. So the request was conceded and a blanket was given. The invigilator announced just 5 minutes before that it was time for the winding up process, and the examination concluded. Stephens felt happy when he heard from the governor that he himself must lead McCleary the invigilator out. So he was feeling mighty proud that he was given the responsibility, and he led the invigilator out. The whole prisoner thought, the whole team was quite happy, but when Stephens came back after seeing McCleary off to Evans' room, instinctively he was just stunned. He found someone seated on the chair and was completely drenched with blood. He looked at him closely and found first that it could be Evans, but then the dress and other things suggested that Evans had escaped and McCleary was seated inside. So he quickly sent word, and the whole prison was on the toes. Sirens rang up, ambulance was called, the whole machinery was in motion once again. Very quickly, McCleary, the invigilator who was seated there, the supposed one, simply said that he was all right and he wanted to show the question paper. And everybody was stunned that there was something superimposed on the last sheet where the correction had been made. So everybody was stunned. The sympathies were with McCleary the invigilator, and he simply said that he knew where Evans had gone. So the governor ordered that he must be taken to the hospital. He was rushed to the hospital, and he simply said that he knew where Evans could have gone. So the machinery, the prison machinery, just trusted him blindly and followed his commands. So he was just let out. After some time, when the prison authorities interrogated and made inquiries, Stephens said that he was asked to lead McCleary out by the governor. It was at that moment that the governor felt that there were some gaps, and he said no, he had never sent the order. He had not contacted him. He had just tried, but He had not contacted him at all. And then the inquiries revealed that the real McCleary was bound and gagged in his cell. He had not come. So who had come? It was Evans' friends, who as McCleary with the paraphernalia. Inquiries after inquiries even to the Redcliffe Hospital where McCleary had been sent revealed that the ambulance had been sent, but there was no person by the name of McCleary who had come there. So there were doubts and doubts, and the governor decoded the plan again, and he understood that Evans had escaped. So Evans, disguised as McCleary, was seated inside, who was respectfully led out. So they all had been quite gullible. Anyway, after decoding the plan, the governor reached the hotel where Evans could be. So he just went and occupied the room. Evans was out. He was feeling proud that whatever he had done, his plan was quite successful. But when he opened the room, he was stunned that he had been caught red-handed by the governor. The governor talked to him and got to know that there were friends and friends all around, and the material that was brought in by the prison authorities, rather it was allowed by the prison authorities related to O-level German, had never been checked, and his friends had helped him all through. So McCleary had brought in extra dress, and so he was looking slimmer when he left. So the dress, beard, they had all been arranged. Even the paraphernalia, which contained the rubber ring, added to Evans' escape, because it contained the pig's blood, which was mixed with a pinch of human blood so that it may not clot. So that's how everything had been. And the most important one was Jackson's sympathy, because Evans had chopped off his hair, and he knew that Jackson did not like his hair at all. So when he requested him to allow him to put on the hat because it was a lucky charm, Jackson had conceded. Had Jackson not conceded, maybe Evans might not have been able to carry forth his plan. But Evans was shrewd, and prison authorities were quite sympathetic with him, after all, because he was a pleasant personality. So the governor saw to it that this man is sent back to the prison again. He's sent along with some men, but then when the prison van moves on, after some time the driver inquires where should they head towards, and Evans said Newbury, and that was a escape plan, a clever one. The governor felt he had succeeded, but after some time he got to realize that Evans had escaped from the prison again and lived up to the reputation of Evans the Brick. Enjoy the fiction.